Now, we're all used to cloud services. If you think about Microsoft, Google, we've got email in the cloud, we've got file storage in the cloud, all our photos are in the cloud, we can do documents in the cloud, spreadsheets in the cloud, we can collaborate with other people, maybe in our workplace, in a home office, in a small team. Everything is based in the cloud. Now, sometimes people use this kind of saying that the cloud is really just someone else's server. So you're doing everything else on someone else's server. And of course you pay for that. You're using their server and you pay for that one way or another. Now, of course, it is a bit worrying sometimes to say I've got all my data in someone else's server. What happens if something goes wrong? Now, of course, that's the risk we take. The risks are, of course, understandable, hopefully very small, but sometimes it's good to take back control. You want to have all of your data on your own server, not on some server, probably even in a foreign country compared to where you are. You'd like the data on your own server. And there are different ways of doing that. For example, I do have a video here on this channel about how you can use a Synology NAS, network attached storage, and then install all of the kind of things that you would use in the cloud, but on your NAS server, including documents and file backup, obviously photos and media and so on and so on. And I cover all that in the other video. Now, another way to do that is to take a PC, an old PC, doesn't need to be something modern, an old PC, and install software like Nextcloud. So in this video, we're going to look at Nextcloud. We're going to take a tour of it. I'm going to show you what you need to set it up. I'm going to show you how to set it up. I'm going to give you a quick demo of it running, that kind of thing. So at the end of it, you know what you need to do to get yourself up and running using Nextcloud. So if you want to find out more, please let me explain. Okay, so Nextcloud is a cloud server software, and there is some cloud client software, and you install the server on top of a Linux distribution on, as I said, an older PC. And then there are apps that you can get for Windows, Mac, for iOS, for Android, that allows you to interact with those cloud services, backing up your photos, looking at the documents, and so on. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of what I mean, show you how you got these cloud servers, just a quick demo so you get an idea of it, and then we'll talk about the requirements that you need. Okay, so I have Nextcloud set up. I have the client on my Android phone. I also have access to it via the web browser on that laptop in the back. I'm going to upload a file, a PDF file from my phone to the cloud server, which of course is a private cloud server running on my own server, and there it has appeared. I can double click on it and see the PDF file in my browser. Okay, so the requirements is basically an older PC. It's got to be a 64-bit PC, a couple of gigs of RAM. 4 gigs would be good. Just depends on how many simultaneous users are going to be using it. If it's just you, even 2-3 others, then 4 gigs of RAM is going to be absolutely fine. And of course it needs some storage, and obviously the more storage the better. Now, unlike a NAS setup, a network attached storage, where you might be dealing with RAID and several disks, on this setup, basically your main disk is going to act as your storage. So if you stick a 1 terabyte drive in there, or a 4 terabyte drive, that's going to be the main storage. Now, there are ways of expanding the storage on Nextcloud to use other drives, but that's beyond the scope of this video. So basically, when you're thinking about it, whatever it is your main drive, the main boot drive, that's going to be your storage. So in a minute, we're going to go over to the command line and show you how to install this. Now, the assumption, you've already installed a version of Linux, something like Ubuntu, and you've already set it up to have a static IP address, and you need to have access to the command line. Okay, so here we are on my Ubuntu vanilla system. Really, there's no desktop. If we do a neo fetch here, we can see that it's a Ubuntu 24.04 running on an old Dell Optiplex machine that I've got hanging around. Now, we're going to install Nextcloud using Snap. Now, this particular cut down version of Ubuntu that I've installed doesn't come with Snap pre-installed. Your one may do. If it doesn't, then you need to do a sudo apt update, of course, to update all of your files there, so it knows about the repositories. And then you do a sudo apt install snapd. That will go ahead and install that. And after you've installed it, you'll need to reboot. Okay, once it has rebooted, you now need to do a sudo snap install. So this is not apt install, but snap install, because that's what we're enabling the snap system, and then Nextcloud, and that will install that for you. Okay, and once that's been installed, you need to point your web browser on any PC that you have on your network to the IP address of that Ubuntu machine that you've just installed. Snap on, create an admin account. So I'm going to go with admin. Maybe you want to go with something different. And of course, a password. Let's click install. Okay, and then the next step of the install process is to install the recommended apps. Now remember, Nextcloud is not network attached storage. This really is a private cloud that you're installing on one of your local machines. So you've got Calendar, Contacts, Mail, Nextcloud Office, and so on. So yes, we're going to go ahead and install all of those apps. Okay, once Nextcloud is installed, you work with it via a web interface or via one of the apps on iOS and Android and so on. And here is the dashboard at the beginning. This can be customized to set different things that you want to be able to see at the beginning. And then there's this little menu bar here at the top. So for example, you go to files. This is files that you've uploaded to your cloud, but your private cloud that you can then access via the web browser. You can access via other devices, iOS and so on. The same with photos. Again, you can set it so you can automatically back up all the photos you take on your smartphone will get copied up onto your private cloud. Then, you know, there's a talk server if you want to have one. So if this is running in some kind of small enterprise, small office situation, you can use this rather than some of the more popular cloud offerings. You can configure your email, contact, calendar, notes, and so on. So really it is a cloud offering, everything you'd expect from Google or Microsoft or whatever, but condensed down here onto something running on your own private server. So let's take a look at some of these different activities in a bit more detail. So one of the advantages of cloud services, private cloud services, you can do document creation. Here I've clicked on creating a new document. There are templates available. I'm creating a blank one. And then here using the web browser, I can just start to create a document, you know, titles, you know, there's different bold and fonts and all that. Here I'm creating a list and I'm going to turn that into a numbered list just by clicking there. But the point is this, once you have your document, of course, on the private cloud server, it's also accessible here on my Android phone. So there you can see the same document. You can edit it while you're on the Android phone. And watch this, as I'm editing it now, I'm adding in list item 3, but it is edited also here on the web browser. So it's true collaboration. Another important aspect of private cloud is the ability to upload photos. So obviously take a photo on your phone, you want that to be backed up somewhere, you can back it up onto your Nextcloud. Here I'm going to take a photo of my laptop and then upload that. And then once it has been uploaded, it will become available on my private cloud using Nextcloud. So if I navigate to the photos directory, we can see that the photo has been uploaded, double click, and there we go, both photos, one on my phone, one in my private cloud server. Nextcloud also supports creating markdown files. If you say create a new text file, I'm going to create a second README file because there's already one there. I'm going to use the README template. And the point I want to show here is that it's got the formatting of a markdown file. As you can see, there are bullet points and there are items and titles and so on. But the important thing is if you download this file onto your local PC, it truly is a markdown file that is, there you go, just got the same text as a markdown file. So that's really good for collaboration as well. Now, one final thing to say before we close out, because you've trusted all your data now to your own PC with this hard drive in it, or SSD drive, whatever you set up, you do need to think about backup because everything is now on that one computer. And you need to be able to back up everything from there onto something else because something happens to that, if a water pipe bursts, floods your office, floods your house, you know, whatever, all your data is gonna be lost. So you need to make sure you have a way of backing that up. Again, that's a bit more beyond than the scope of this video, but there is documentation on the Nextcloud website about how you can take all that stuff and make sure you've got it somewhere else. Okay, that's it. My name is Gary Sims. This is Gary Explains. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you like these kind of videos, then hey, stick around, subscribe to the channel. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.